Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the show.
Hello, hello.
It's the None of the Above podcast, broadcasting worldwide on YouTube, Twitch, elsewhere, possibly. You know, we're still working on that, but good to have you all here. We've got an excellent show lined up for you. This episode of the program, in the kitchen, out of frame, completely off kilter, is Bernay doing dishes. Hope you don't hear too much of that going on, but if you do, it's okay. And from the 100-acre wood, it's Anna of the North. Everyone's favorite country rose. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Not too bad. Hanging in there.
Yeah.
Had to work all day. Well, coming off a week's vacation was rough.
When did you go back today?
Yesterday. And yesterday was not a good day. Today was pretty good. It wasn't too bad. I came home. I survived in a pretty good mood. Didn't, I wanted to murder people, but I don't murder people. It's not something I would ever do, but.
Right.
Was thinking about the podcast and how it was going to be tonight and all this kind of stuff. What I wanted to do different than our initial run that you folks probably will never see.
Nope,
probably.
Never.
But we had to have a proof of concept and we had to figure out what it was that we, weren't doing. That's what it was. There was something that we weren't doing that we need to do, and we're still trying to figure that out. But like I said, we've got a great show lined up for you tonight. Start off with some news and headlines. A few quick comments. Oh no, I can't even. Trump, first thing, Trump, right off the bat.
Yeah, let's do something that's maybe not a little.
There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them. That's the quote. That's the quote by MSN.
Well, I know the one, but what's the other?
He said he moved a submarine or 2 to the coast of Russia, but said the word nuclear can never be said. I call it the N-word. There are 2 N-words, and you can't use either of them, Trump said in an address to military leaders on Tuesday. This comment, seemingly made by the president in jest, was met with silence from the military leaders called together at Quantico by Secretary of Defense. So he's now saying that his nuclear submarines have been moved to in range with Russia. That's basically what he's saying. But he didn't say nuclear because you can't say it.
So is that like limiting our speech? We're not allowed to talk about it?
No. The quote is I call it the N-word, and there are 2 of them. You can't say either one of them, which means you don't ever use the N-word when referring to a black person, and you don't ever say nuclear when you're talking about war and that kind of thing. But his submarines are all loaded with nuclear rockets and ballistic missiles and shit. Like you can. The thing that I don't understand about all this is he was supposedly an ally of Putin. He was friends with Putin. Now all of a sudden he's flipped the script and he's hanging out with Zelensky from the Ukraine and shitting on Putin, at least in public. In the public.
Yeah, and I feel like stick around long enough and the tables will turn. Like that's just
maybe
I don't know, because you never really know. And honestly, do you really believe what you're told? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't believe anything. I don't see, even I almost get to the point where I say I don't want to believe anything that I see if I don't hear the person like in person say those words.
Yeah.
Used to
like
be able to
if
be like, I could watch go ahead.
If someone makes a speech about something or writes a paper or writes a book, I want to watch the speech and I want to read the book. And I'm not going to read a review that someone made and make that an opinion about, like I want to watch it or see it or read it myself.
Well, what I was getting at was even if you watch that on TV or YouTube or whatever wherever you get your information from, every day, Facebook or whatever, these days, there's no guarantee that that's actually what occurred. It could be, a fake video, and it looks so real that you can't tell the difference. That's the kind of stuff that drives me nuts. Is you don't know, and that's all part of the plan. I think that's what it feels like.
I also think that a lot of the news is perspective and subjective. I feel like I hear very little facts now.
Yeah. Well, they've made it so that you can't even.
Tell the difference.
Right.
Yeah.
There's no way to. They've made it that way on purpose. Like I said, they want it. They call it disinformation or whatever, but it isn't that necessarily. It's making it so that you can't decide if it's right or wrong or not.
Mm-hmm. Because all you have to do is go to the next page or read the next article or go to the next channel and you'll hear the exact opposite. So
Yeah,
what exactly are you supposed to believe?
And they'll be saying it just because the opposing side said something. They have to say exactly the opposite of it. They can't listen to what that person said and put any logical thought into it. Or, oh, is he right or wrong? He's automatically wrong because he's wearing a fucking MAGA hat. He's automatically wrong because he's wearing a MAGA hat.
I feel like at some point, because when I was a kid, I don't feel like the elections were like they are now. Like, I feel like now at some point it switched to where all like political stuff is not what you're doing, the information that you're doing or anything, or what you're running for or what you want to do. It's all about against the other party.
Right. Exactly right.
Instead of just lighting yourself up and just saying what you're doing, you're just saying all the bad things about them. And then everybody just talks negative all the time.
Yeah.
And there's absolutely no more positive talk, I feel like.
There's no cooperation of any kind.
None.
If you're not my team, you're wrong and the enemy, and you deserve to die.
And everybody's guilty of it.
Yeah, both sides. Yeah,
everyone.
Yeah.
So where do we even start as our generation? Because we can't even trust where we get our information from. So that's where I think YouTube and social media has come in, because we can just listen to each other, just talk each other's opinions. And that's how we form our opinion, is because we can't believe the facts.
I think that's part of the problem, though, is that everybody is suddenly an expert now. And everybody starts spitting out their opinions on everything instead of looking at and it's all an emotional reaction. No one is looking at it with objective views and eyes that are just trying to find the best solution, or what's the opposing view? I have to be against it. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. There's a meme on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it these days. Thanks, Elon doofus. That showed Trump standing up in a speech saying, "Don't drink your own piss." And then the next scene is the liberal left drinking a bottle of their own piss. Like they'll do it just because he said not to. Donald Trump could walk on water tomorrow and raise the dead. And they'd be like, "Nope, he's evil. He's Satan." He's, like, just because it's Donald Trump.
Well, I feel like it doesn't matter what you believe. There's always an extremist. I feel like everybody's getting more and more extreme in their beliefs and not less compromisation. Like, nobody's compromising anymore. Everybody's just more getting stronger in what they believe, which is fine. But you also still have to meet everybody at the table.
Yeah, well, there has to be some kind of give. And that's why no one's wanting to give anything. It's all, what can you give me? Mine, I'm not we're, and it just brings me to a point that, well, I'll bring it up later. We have another topic we're going to talk about after a while, and it makes a good point that's it. 9/11. Remember how we felt after 9/11 as a country? How did you feel after 9/11? I felt like the country came together. We were all standing there going, "Oh, damn you, Al Qaeda!" We're all together we had been attacked. Well, now we're attacking ourselves. Now I feel nothing like I did after 9/11. Now I feel like I'm as far from the people of this country as I could possibly be. I don't feel close to them. Everyone is your enemy. You're not allowed to. They told you over the holidays, it's okay for you to not invite your family over for the holidays if they believe in Trump. It's okay to distance yourself from those family members. Well, how is that? Where did we come from? It took 20 years, 25 years for us to go from we're all in this together against the common enemy, black, white, yellow, wherever you're from, New York or Des Moines, Iowa. We're all in this together. Never forget, they said. Never forget. Well, we've forgotten.
Yeah, I do think we've forgotten. I will say, I will agree with that. I think that time after that attack on, the whole entire country, that was probably the most patriotic I've seen this country in my generation.
Totally.
So, and that was when a lot of the patriotic songs were written that are still popular, like that we listen to now. I think that was a time definitely brought everyone together, but it also set into a bunch of things that we got behind that I don't think we would have gotten behind if there wasn't an attack.
What, like the war and stuff?
The war. I also think like a lot of our securities changed. Like we gave up a lot.
Oh yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, under the guise of the Patriot Act and whatnot. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
So I think we would have not done that had we had not been attacked.
Take your shoes off at the airport.
Yeah. And all of that stuff. Just being able to live free. That didn't. That existed before 9/11, and that didn't exist anymore. Like now there's always, and I feel like the world has become, or our country has become very scared, and a lot of us live in fear now. And I did not see that. And maybe I was a child, but in the 90s, I didn't feel like people lived in constant fear of someone else blowing them up. Because I wasn't, I guess, around whenever the bomb threats happened, and they were, I was born in the 80s. So.
Yeah, you were really young when it happened, I reckon. You were a teenager.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I was 13.
Yeah, that's pretty young.
Yeah, I was in 8th grade. So I remember it.
Do you remember the day? Do you remember the day it happened?
Yeah, absolutely.
It was beautiful outside, man.
It was a great day.
Bluebird skies, not a cloud anywhere. Gorgeous. Renee was at work. We lived in our house, that old Civil War era house that we used to live in.
Yeah, we didn't know each other then.
Yeah, that's true. That is correct. She worked at a different. Yeah, she didn't. Yeah. I was asleep and I woke up to the tornado sirens. I could hear
really?
What woke me up was the tornado sirens were all going off, and I woke up and it was nice out. Like it was beautiful out. And I thought, what in the world? And then my alarm went off, or I turned the radio on or whatever, and it was KSHE 95 here in St. Louis. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Probably never heard of it, but they were British guys talking like in news. It was a newscast from like BBC.
Yeah.
That everyone was doing it. That like they just got the feed from BBC and everybody, did it. And I was like, what in the world is going on here? What world? A plane? Anyway, so I got up and went and turned the TV on, and it was that iconic image, the one of the tower standing there, and one of them's got smoke coming out of it. Just one of them.
Mm-hmm.
And the phone starts blowing up, and it's Renee, and it's my sisters, and like the world is fucking ending. The sky is falling.
Were they frantic? Like,
yeah. Well, my sister Lori was out of her fucking gourd. She thought that was it. Like, this is it. This is the end of the world. She's calling to say she loved me and shit because it's gonna. I'm like, it's not. Settle down. It's okay.
So did, like, as an adult, because I was not an adult, did you think that there was going to be more? Like, were you guys expecting more?
Well, because at the time they knew nothing except they think a plane hit one of the towers. We think that's what happened. We don't know what kind of plane it was. We don't know anything yet. They just immediately grounded all aircraft. Like you could know
Okay.
all planes have to be grounded right now because we lost one, you know. Turns out they lost several, you know, allegedly 4.
Yeah, but that's allegedly.
Well, we ain't quite into the tinfoil hat part yet, but you're correct. So then from then on, like for the next month and a half, I mean, we're not even through the morning yet. Only one plane has hit the damn track, but for the next month and a half, that's all that was on any TV or radio, or even the weather
I remember all
on the
that. Yeah.
newscast mentioned the tragedy in New York.
Yeah.
Ground zero. So then a little while later, they still hadn't, you know, gotten any kind of facts or anything that much. But there were news crews there now arriving, and we're getting live feeds from different angles of the towers standing there and one of them burning and shit. And out of the blue, next thing you know,
Mm-hmm.
another one.
Yeah.
And literally that was the one that, because then it was.
So were you watching it?
Yes.
Yeah, me too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Because it was like, I don't know the facts. These are all things that I need someone to write down for me so that I can look at. But, you know, it was only a short while later. It was, you know, the first one hit it, you know, like about 9 o'clock our time. And the next one was like at 9:30 or 10 or something. It was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what train of thought. I was on a train of thought, and then I got.
Sorry.
That's all right. It wasn't your fault.
Well, I remember the morning too. Like I remember the day clear as day. And I was in 8th grade and we were in social studies class. And we heard that a plane, I was standing in the hall, and one of my classmates his dad was in the military and all his family was in the military. So he always talked about military stuff and he was very interested in it all the time, and the news and everything. He was just like that kind of the kid in the class. And he like came up to me and he's like, "Hey, did you know that a plane hit the World Trade Center? Is that true? Did you hear anything?" And I was like, "No, but I mean, it wouldn't do anything to it." And he's like, "Well, what do you mean?" And I was like, "Well, because the Christmas before this, we went to New York City.
Yeah.
And we went into the World Trade Center and we went up to the top and we walked the roof."
I've seen the pictures of you up there.
And that building was so massive.
Mm-hmm.
And each pillar, I mean, I couldn't even put my arms around. Like I couldn't hug it. That was one pillar.
Yeah.
So, and they were solid, like it was so massive to me that I thought it would be like the World Trade Center, and then the plane crumbled and went down the side.
Yeah.
Because it was so massive that I just did not, I was 13 too. I didn't comprehend totally like how it would all work like that. And then we both went into social studies together, and he asked the teacher if we could turn the news on. And she said, yes, like we could. And so we turned it on and the class started watching it. And that's when the second plane hit.
Mm-hmm.
And she immediately turned it off and said we were not allowed to watch it anymore. And then about 20 minutes later, people started getting signed out of school.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So like all the kids except for me and maybe 3 or 4 other kids were left at school.
Yep.
And so finally at the end of the day, my mom came and picked me up and we were driving home. And I'm like, "Why didn't you come get me?" And because everybody's parents were scared for the safety of their child.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Why didn't you come get me?" And she's like, "Girl, that place was surrounded by cops. You were safe there." And I was like, "All right." So then we went home and I'm like, that's all that we saw for weeks and weeks. You didn't matter what was like, even MTV. I mean, like it didn't matter what station you turned on. It was nothing but that.
Yep.
But I think that there was a lot. I don't know, man. I I don't know if what they tried to make us believe is true.
There is a very large amount of evidence to suggest
Yes.
some tomfoolery going on there. A little bit of shenanigans.
Yeah.
There are
Definitely
things that
don't add up.
things that don't add up physically, like things that occur when these things happen and things that don't occur when these things happen. And
Yeah.
there are, if you don't know, there's a couple of movies, great documentaries about this. One of them
Yeah.
isn't about this, but it is about this. It's called Zeitgeist, and it's about lots of stuff. And there's another one called Loose Change, and they're both excellent documentaries. They're kind of heavy-handed and they're one-sided a little bit, but that's to be expected on those types of stuff. But skyscrapers catching fire has never really been a cause of them falling down in their own footprint. There's records of skyscrapers that are as tall as the World Trade Center being on fire for like 20 hours, 2 days. It's burning for 2 days, and it never fell. They got it extinguished and put it out.
Do you think that the way that it kind of sliced it in half had something to do with that?
What, the way they had what sliced in half? The building?
Like the plane kind of like if you had a stack of bread and you like took a knife and cut it like kind of sliced, like if you took one slice out, it kind of make it all weak.
Well,
I don't know, for a really long time until I became an adult. So I was 13 when this happened. And until I became an adult, I believed everything I heard about it because I was raised to believe that stuff. Like when you turn on the news, they're telling you the truth. Like that's just how you were raised. And now that I've been older and I've watched different points of views and different documentaries about different aspects of it, it does not add up. It just doesn't.
It does not add up. There's a little bit too much shit that don't add up, is what I'm saying. I could handle some of it. I could swallow some of it. I just can't swallow all of it. There's just, you were talking about
my biggest thing is I think that there's no way that our government did not know that it was going to happen, because there's no way that they would allow that plan to get that big and be executed on our soil with zero knowledge. I just don't believe it.
Well,
I just don't believe it.
I don't know about that, dude. I don't think that it was a plan perpetrated by the U.S. government. I'm not saying that they're not.
I don't think it was a plan that was executed by them. I think they had another plan in mind.
George W. Bush didn't organize this and get it going. It wasn't him per se.
I'm not saying that.
It was his vice president and the leaders of a bunch of corporations that stood to make billions of dollars if they won these lucrative war contracts, which they did. Halliburton is one of them. Remember Halliburton? Cheney that was Dick Cheney's business. Halliburton. That's what he did before he became the vice president. As far as I can recollect. He was the CEO or the president or whatever, owner of Halliburton, and they got billion-dollar contracts to go to Iraq and rebuild all them oil wells and do all the stuff, all the defense contracts. I'm just saying that's who perpetrated the whole deal.
I think that, I don't know, I kind of think that, and I kind of have a little bit of a conspiracy theorist kind of mind, but I do think that our government, I don't know which branch of our government, but I I have an inkling, has had an idea that they were here, knew what they were doing, but were using them. They were trying to use them, I think, but those people betrayed them and attacked on our soil, is what I think happened. I think they knew that they were here. I think they knew they were training them. But I think they expected it. I think they expected them to go and fulfill missions for us. And instead they attacked us.
I don't necessarily believe that the people that they say did this the way they said they did it actually did it the way they said they did it. I think the misinformation starts at a different level than where you're at right now. You're talking about conspiracies and who caused this. And what I'm saying, the story that they fed us, it's just like with all of the rest of JFK, the moon landing, all that shit. There's so much evidence to say it didn't happen the way that they said it happened that I can't believe that it happened the way they said it happened. You're telling me that a guy with a box cutter got on a plane, several guys with box cutters, a box cutter. I mean, they didn't have guns, they didn't have bombs, they didn't have knives. It was a box cutter.
Yeah.
They took over a plane, and none of them had ever flown one of these big giant jets before. You ever seen
but they knew how to fly.
They knew how to fly. Well, look, I don't know much about aviation, but I know there's a great deal of difference between a one-engine Piper Cub, biplane kind of a fucking thing, and a jumbo jet. It's the difference is ridiculous. It takes hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of training to fly a jumbo jet.
Yeah,
most people could fly a Piper Cub in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, but I'm not
flown anything.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that they trained. They had teams of people on each one of these flights. Teams. And those people only had to know how to do what they needed to know how to do. They didn't even know how to do anything else. There was not one person or three people. There was a dozen people on each one of these planes.
You reckon?
Yes.
That's not their claim.
No, and I also yes, that is. You should.
Dozens?
Okay, so there's this documentary that is I don't know if it's a documentary. I don't even know what I saw, and I wish I would have wrote it down. But there's talk of flight attendants coming out from a fifth plane that was delayed, and it was like a lot of the passengers didn't. There was very few passengers on the plane, but they ended up grounding. Ended up not taking off. And so they got everybody off the plane and locked the plane. And this was on September 11th. And this was a flight going from JFK to LA. And they ended up getting everybody off the flight. And then they locked the plane. And like 5 minutes later, there was men running on the plane. So these men got off the plane, and then they went in there, and there was like a door from the bottom of the plane open where they were in because they were controlling the bottom of the plane.
Mm-hmm. Well, here's what Google says.
Yeah, I can't read that, man.
Hang on, I can. I just shouldn't have. Here, let's do this. Yeah, now we got it. 19 terrorists hijacked 4 commercial airliners. This is the AI overview of the official explanation. 5 was the most number that was on a plane, and there were only 4, according to the official record.
Yeah, I don't.
What I'm telling you is these dudes here. There's no way. There's no way. these guys were like, they learned to fly on these simulation planes. Like the only time a couple of them used a simulator a couple of times. I follow a guy on the internet that he flies planes and helicopters and that kind of stuff. And he's been training for years and years and years and years. He's not certified to fly a jumbo jet. My point is, these guys weren't good enough to do what these planes did. Like they were coming in hot at high speed, having to go through buildings and shit. They were, because, planes fly way up in the sky. Well, the New York skyline ain't way up in the sky, and they were right there level with it.
Okay, so
Having to
wait.
go between buildings.
So what are you saying? Are you saying that there were no planes that hit the towers?
Well, much like the name of our podcast, none of the above. I don't believe any of the shit that I've been told. I think there's another. I don't know what it is, but there's another, like the actual truth has not been discovered yet or put out. We haven't discovered it yet. All I believe is, I don't believe those dudes that could barely fly. They go back and look at the records of these guys and where they progressed. How good they were at learning to fly these planes. Those guys could not have flown these planes and flown them like they flew them. Whew, awful lot of alliteration. So,
well, like I always heard that we trained them how to fly that. And through all the documentaries I've watched and through the different information of people, like ex-CIA agents that have been in different documentaries and stuff, I think that there was a lot more people involved. And I think that if we ever find out, it's going to be a really long time down the road, because I think it has to do with a lot of mistakes by our government. And in order to tell us the truth, they're going to have to air out their dirty laundry. And that's not going to happen for a really long time.
Well, we'll have to wait till everybody involved is dead then for it. Even look at JFK.
Exactly.
That happened how many years ago, and we still don't know. There's all kinds of shit that they still are, and everybody kept saying Trump said it his first term. I'll release all that shit. Well, here we are. Getting to the middle of his second term, and still nothing. Still no. They released some little tidbits of shit, but it didn't have nothing on it.
Right. So it'll be, there's still too many people alive that are involved. That's what it tells me.
Kind of the way it feels.
And I think, the 9/11's the same thing. I think it was probably something else that went awry.
Well, let's talk about the owner of the buildings. I think his name was, I don't know. I can't remember. I don't want to. Larry Weinstein or Rosenstein, or it was something like that. I don't know what it was. I can't remember. Goldstein, maybe. He super rich dude. And he had just taken out an insurance policy on the Twin Towers before the attacks. Yes. I urge you to watch those documentaries.
What are they called?
Loose Change and Zeitgeist. He also owned World Trade Center 7. The little shorter little building that burned and later fell right into its own basement, completely neat and orderly, just like a demolition would have done. Anyway, he had it insured for ungodly amounts of money. Shortly before, there were lots of weird repairs being done on floors, like certain floors were cordoned off and you weren't allowed on those floors for a while, doing maintenance updates and this kind of stuff, which the conspiracy people say that was them preparing this building for demolition, cutting out the supports and planting fucking C4 and shit on the beams and the structural points. There's no reason why this thing should have fallen down.
Well, see, and that's where, I was there. And when I heard about it, I was like, there's no way, because this building was massive, Corey. Massive.
It is.
So it's like, I've been on a plane. I've been on so many planes. There's no way they would take 100,000 planes to fit inside of this. And
Well,
so whenever I heard about it, it was shocking, because I just don't understand how a plane could do that damage. Now, at the Pentagon, makes sense. You fly into the side of a Pentagon, that's probably what's going to happen.
Okay, well, here we go. This is where we're to the part where I say, no, I call bullshit. That didn't happen. That the Pentagon was not a fucking jumbo jet. There is no way in hell any of those terrorists flew a jumbo jet that close to the ground and with that kind of precision, and there not be much rubble left. Like, there was like a part of an engine sitting in the front lawn of the Pentagon. The hole that was presented to us as the hole that this plane went into wasn't big enough for a fucking jumbo jet to go into. The wingspan of a jumbo jet is huge, man. If you look at the pictures of the towers, it's a perfect silhouette of a plane jabbing through the glass, right? Well, you go to the Pentagon and realize it's different material, but the hole is nowhere near as big as a jumbo jet. If you superimpose an image of a jumbo jet over that hole, it's way bigger. And the only crappy footage that they allowed anyone to see doesn't look like any jumbo jet to me. It looks like a fucking rocket. Like with, and there was a clear view from the gas station across the street that the, government they got that footage. They didn't give it to nobody, didn't let anybody see it. I think because it shows a fucking rocket going across the goddamn lawn. That didn't.
What documentary is this?
One is called Zeitgeist, and it contains a lot of other stuff, but a big portion of it is good stuff on 9/11. And then there's one called Loose Change. 9/11 Loose Change. I know that they were on Amazon at one time. I don't know if they still are or not, but you can find them around. YouTube's got them.
Yeah.
Excuse me. The other plane, supposedly the people on the plane heroically fought back and stormed the cockpit, and they crashed in a field. They think they were heading for the White House or the Capitol building. Well, how the hell do you know where they were going? They could have been going anywhere, or it might not have happened at all. If you look at photos of plane crashes that have happened in the past, like just not 9/11 plane crashes, but other plane crashes, compare that scene to the scene that they say was the wreckage of it looks nothing alike. It looks made up. It looks like they did it to make it look like a plane crash there.
Would it be possible, like, I'm just devil's advocate, right? Just throwing it out there. So, like, what if, like, they did somehow get bombs onto the plane, and when the planes blew up, the bombs blew up, so it blew up everything after it blew up everything?
Yeah, but everything didn't vaporize. Metal doesn't just liquefy and run off. It doesn't. Even with the biggest explosion, there's going to be some stuff left.
Yeah.
There's going to be engine parts and never forgetting the fact that they claim that in all this rubble, the rubble that was at Ground Zero, the rubble that was at the Pentagon and this field where this other plane crashed, all this stuff, they found the passports of these terrorists.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? And that's how you've identified who's done this? Are you kidding me right now?
I remember seeing that in a documentary. Like, okay, you can't recover so much, like a whole checklist of things you could not recover, but somehow you have a passport.
Can't find the indestructible black box that contains the voice recorder of these. Can't find that, but we found their paper passport.
Yeah.
Just happened to be laying there on the ground. That reminds me a lot of the finding that bullet on the gurney in Texas, in Dallas, in 65 or whatever it was. There's no way it was just laying there.
Yeah.
Pristine. You ever see a bullet that's been shot into a deer? It's flattened and mangled and shit. That bullet was pristine. There's no fucking way. But I digress.
I know.
So what then are the alternative theories and beliefs? What we don't believe it happened the way they said it did. How did it happen? I don't think that George Bush, I think he was kind of a puppet. His entire presidency, he was a puppet. He didn't run shit.
I definitely don't think whoever did it, I definitely don't think that he knew. And I think that they knew that they had to make that happen that way because he's not an actor. So if he would have known anything, he would have slipped up or we would have figured that out.
I think he could have. The thing is it's his dad, Herbert Walker Bush, the other Bush president. He was the puppeteer of Georgie. He did what Daddy said. How do I make Dad proud? How do I not make him think that I'm the loser kid? If you know anything about him at all, if you've followed his history or looked back at his biography or anything like that, he was a fuck up his entire life.
Yeah.
George W. Bush. His brother Jeb, who became the governor of Florida, was the one that he looked up to and wanted to be like, and the one that Mom and Daddy liked the best, and all this kind of shit. And George was the fuck up. This was his opportunity to make Daddy proud, because his daddy had all these connections with the CIA, because he was the head of the CIA for many years during, I believe, during Kennedy's assassination and Vietnam and stuff. He was the head of the CIA. Okay. He later got into politics after that, but that's neither here nor there. He was the one that was helping get all these contracts. I'm telling you, it was they didn't, I don't think that Bush orchestrated this. I think they said we need something to go to war so that we can get all these contracts and make all of our buddies billions of dollars. How can we do that? And they were like, well, if we get a terrorist attack, that'll justify anything. We can make it so that people, they saw that we would come together and be like, yeah, fuck yeah, they were that was the first attack since Pearl Harbor. You know what I mean? The first big thing. That's why some people say Pearl Harbor was orchestrated so that we could end the war, or to do what we did, escalate it to the point where we're going to end it in a couple of years with a big old bomb. A couple of them.
Well, I kind of think that honestly, if you want to know what I think the CIA had another plan, and whatever their plan was fucking fell through, and was not going to go like they were going to, hoping it was going to go through. So, and then they needed a plan, and they had everything in line I don't know. Part of me feels like the CIA had another plan that went awry, and this is what the result of that was, because those people were let loose in our country and weren't being watched properly by the CIA or the FBI. Like, the FBI didn't know, but the CIA did. And then whenever the attack happened, the CIA was like, oh, well, let's go ahead and blame it on them so that now we can go ahead and invade, and this works out perfectly.
Yeah.
And then all of us as citizens were like, hoorah, let's go fight for our country. And it worked out fucking perfectly.
Yeah, no, that is.
And now here we are, still fucking falling in line.
Well, yeah. I mean, they always wanted you to fall in line, but people weren't as dumb back then. And they weren't as overt about all the stuff they're doing. they hid it better back in the old days when my parents were young, before World War I or II. I mean, they were doing this nefarious stuff even back then, but they kept it under wraps better. Of course, it was long before the internet or modern TV and radio and that kind of shit. They basically had newspapers, and that was about it. Newsreels at the movie theater. Other than that, you didn't really hear about what was going on in the rest of the world. It was easier to keep stuff under wraps. Now with the advent of everything that we have now, smartphone cameras and, whatever, podcasts where we can broadcast ourselves all over the world via the internet. I can get someone in Russia, information in 2 seconds from here. You know what I'm saying? Or, any country, not necessarily Russia. That had some implications I didn't mean it to have.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that there are a lot of things in place to where we will never know until, like, the information, none of the truth's going to come out until it doesn't matter anymore. Once it doesn't matter anymore, then we'll know everything. But until then, we ain't going to know. So, I mean, we can all sit here all day long and talk about everything, but it'll still be 100 years before they even start to release anything.
I'm not sure it'll ever come out. I think the days of knowing what actually happened are over. When your news media is such that they'd rather toe the party line, and if their owners are liberal, then they're going to broadcast liberal side of stuff. Everybody, no matter what, even no matter what your side is, you're going to portray it as the right side. Even the people that claim to be unbiased and don't care still kind of follow either the left or the right. Even if you call it, middle of the road, I kind of straddle the fence, that kind of shit. I say that stuff a lot. It just depends on what kind of policies we're talking about, whether I'm left or right, but more conservative on these areas and more liberal on these areas. But I think that, like the news, CNN used to be a trusted news source, but can you trust CNN nowadays? The AP Wire? The AP Wire it's still one of the top news agencies in the world, but can you believe the shit they're saying? New York Post? I mean, New York Times? I don't think so. Washington Post? Can you? St. Louis Post-Dispatch? Can you trust the shit they put on there? Riverfront Times? I mean, how do you know?
No, I don't read or listen to any of that. The only thing I kind of trust is BBC.
Yeah, well, I don't know that they're any different, man. I
don't know that they are either, but at least they seem like they're a little bit more unbiased because I get both sides most of the time.
Well, you definitely get a different.
I feel like they report more on whatever somebody else is doing versus what their opinion is of whatever somebody else is doing.
Yeah, I suppose.
Because I feel like the news is just their opinion on whatever happened. And then you have to work out what happened. Because nobody's just going to be like, this happened.
Right. The news needs to not do any of that. They need
why don't
us the facts of what actually happened.
Right. Like, I don't understand why all the news media's information doesn't match. Like, how come everybody's not saying the same thing?
Because they're giving you their side of stuff.
Exactly. So, I mean, I can't really believe it if it's your opinion. Because how do I know if that's fact?
Yeah, well, it's not. It's not fact.
So then how can you even believe what really happened? Because you're not going to be there for everything. You never will.
I think that's kind of how we started out. I don't know. I can't believe anything I hear from anyone.
Yeah, me
neither.
There
is no true or right or wrong. It's as long as it differs from the other side, it doesn't matter if it's right or wrong. You want to start talking about that, we can go back to Charlie Kirk. And there's conspiracies around that. Who the fuck knows if that shit happened the way it's Trump being shot in the ear or whatever, allegedly. There, the left says that was all staged and bullshit. And, half the conspiracies, this Charlie Kirk, that was staged. Oh, his partner was giving hand signals behind him or whatever. But if you go back to it, shit could not possibly have happened the way that they said it happened. That shit did not happen the way that said it happened either. The gun that he allegedly used, there's no way he could have concealed that thing and walked around with it.
Mm-mm.
Even if he disassembled it, the barrel is this long. It's like this fucking long. You got a backpack that'll hold something that long? Well, he had it down his pants leg. And walking normal? No, he didn't. Jumping down from a building 20 feet onto the ground? Why did he jump down? How did he get up there to have to jump down? You know, couldn't he have climbed down the way that he climbed up? He dropped this thing off in the woods. After escaping, he reassembled it and dropped it off in the woods. What was that? And so here we go. We found the weapon. We found it.
Oh yeah, they're just none of the shit that they said makes sense. None of it, not one thing. And everybody's supposed to believe it. And then they're coming out and saying he's going to be suicidal now so that they can kill him. And then that's the story. That's how it rolls. That's just what they do.
Maybe. Nah, he's going to get off. He'll claim insanity, and they'll put him in a nuthatch somewhere and feed him and let him have conjugal visits with his furry girlfriend or whatever. You know, and people will say, well, that's not even true. He doesn't even really have a furry girlfriend, trans girlfriend that's a furry. Okay, whatever, man. I don't believe none of the tweets that they say, or any of the messages that he supposedly sent her or whatever.
Yeah, I think that's all fabricated.
I think it's all fabricated. You know,
yeah.
You see most of that shit on social media, Facebook, and that kind of shit. So that right there tells me, I don't know if I believe a lot of that. You have to take that with a grain of salt, you know.
I have a hard time trusting anything that the government stands. If the government's standing up and making some kind of speech about something, I have a tendency to believe that they're doing that to hide something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and I've never believed. I don't believe anything that they say, and it's so hard for. And I think I'm not the only one in my generation. We just don't believe them. Just like I don't think that what like their intent. Like I think people have good intentions, and then they get into office and then they are met with all these corrupt people, and then they become corrupt. So I think everybody has good intentions, but then once they get in and all the other people who control everything take over, that's it. I mean, there's people that control our country that we've never met before.
Oh yeah, well you'll never see them.
No,
never. People talk about the shadow government all the time. I don't.
So I don't think that
Joe Biden,
anything.
I mean, come on.
I think any possibility that we even come up with is probably not going to be right, because it's not even, we're probably remotely in our mind frame of what probably happened.
Like we can't even conceive what actually is going on.
Right.
Yeah. No, you may be right. You may be right. You know, I'm not a tinfoil hat wearing guy, but when shit, you know, looks like a duck and walks like a duck and quacks like a duck, it's a duck, man. I don't give a fuck.
Well,
you can show me all kinds of data that tells me otherwise, but you're wrong. It's a duck.
I was also raised by a mother who always told me if I didn't understand something to ask why, or to figure out, like, don't just do something because somebody told you, or don't just believe something because somebody told you. If it doesn't make sense, question it.
Yeah.
Like always question it. So that's how I kind of like have become where I am in all of this stuff. It's because I've questioned things. I'm like, well, that doesn't make sense. And then I go into that. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't make sense. And so, and not that I'm like saying that, you know, I can figure out what they did. I just am saying that what they're telling us is not right.
Yeah.
Because it does not make sense. And I don't think, but I'm not out here trying to figure out what happened, because I don't think that we'll ever know. And I'm not wasting my fucking energy on it.
Well, you know, you can't put your head in the sand and just not pay attention to any of it. That's what I try to do that, because this stuff makes me so mad. The shit that I see.
The reason why,
at the same time, if you do that, then you end up at the end going, what the fuck? I didn't even know this shit was going on. And now I'm screwed. I at least, you know, if you're going to fuck me, kiss me first. I'm going to at least see it coming. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to wake up in 5 years and be like, oh, I can't believe this has happened, when if I'd have had my eyes open, I could have seen it happening all along. I might not be able to stop it or deter it or keep it from happening or whatever, but I'll know it's coming.
Yeah. I don't know, because sometimes like being too aware freaks you out. Like when you start
Yeah. Makes the
thinking
anxiety.
about things and you start piecing it together in your head, and then you're watching a documentary that has nothing to do with whatever thing, and you're like, oh, well, what if that happened with this? Like but we won't ever know. I think it's way out of our reach. Just like JFK, I don't think we'll ever know what that truly is either.
I don't think they'll allow it to happen one way or the other. Even if it was not beyond our comprehension, they won't allow it. They don't want to get caught,
That's what I'm saying. There's still somebody alive that it matters. I mean, it has to be way back until, I don't even know, because if it has to do with a weakness of the government, then they won't want us to know.
Well, and it uncovers their plot to become rich and powerful. That's what all of this shit boils down to. Anything that happens, it's all about being rich and powerful. I get a lot of grief from my siblings because I say it's greed, and they are like, no, it's not greed. It's really more about power. And I'm like, well, it's the same sin. Greed is the same, regardless if you want all the power or all the money, or with the money comes the power. It's greed of all of that. Fame. You can become greedy with fame and be doing crazy, nutty shit just to get clicks because you're greedy. You want all the fame. You want all the notoriety. Sex addicts are greedy. They want all the poontang,
I think it's about control.
Gamblers, greed. They want all the money that they can win. Alcoholics, drug addicts, they want all the drugs, all the alcohol, right?
No, I think it's about control.
I
think it's about control.
That's what motivates these nefarious conspirators. Control, yeah, but that all leads to them controlling you so that they can take your money and have power over you.
Control.
It boils down to the same thing, I guess.
And a lot of people value money over anything else. So if you control their money, you control them.
That's how society works anyway. That's what it seems.
It's sad. It's sad that we have to, we shouldn't have to rely on our government to live.
No, they need to protect our borders and fix our bridges and take our trash out. That's what they need to do.
Yeah.
And I don't need some career politicians blaming the guy that's in office for 4 years for the troubles of America when they've been in office for 50 years. What have you done in the past 50 years to make it better? Come on.
That's what I'm saying. Nobody's really making it better. What happened to be the change that you want to see? How can nobody, I don't know,
these people go into office with a yearly salary of a couple $100,000 a year, and they're worth $1.5 million when they get elected, and then when they retire they're worth $900 million.
Yeah,
how do you make that kind of money? It's because they're getting elected just so they can do all the other stuff to become rich and powerful under the guise of well, I want to help the people of San Francisco, I want to help the people of Portland, or whatever the fuck it is.
Yeah, but those are the people that we see. I'm talking about the people we don't see. The people that actually control everything.
These people are all gears in the same machine. I don't believe there is one governing body over everything like that. There's not one evil person in America running. Even if you watch that movie Zeitgeist, it talks about the New World Order and the leaders of the world the richest and most powerful men in the whole world get together and have these meetings and talk about, well, this is what's going to happen regarding the U.S. and Iraq. This is what's going to happen between Ukraine and Russia. And we need these things to happen because of this. And we want them to happen because of this. And we're not going to give you any oil unless you do this for us.
Right.
But like I said, I don't think it's
like, I don't know. I think that we, as powerful as we are, I think other countries do, if they have what we want, we will do what they want.
Well, if we can give them what they want, they'll make us give it to them, I reckon.
I don't know. Like, it's so hard for me to, I mean, I know foreign affairs is definitely something, but we have so much domestic problems that I don't even know how we even try to fix other foreign problems. Like, why are we even trying to fix foreign problems if our domestic shit is so fucking bad?
Yeah. Our society cares more about the Ukrainian citizens or the, fucking Palestinian citizens.
And I don't.
The Americans.
Right. And you have neighbors whose kids go to school every single day without eating, just like those other kids. But do you go over next door and make sure those kids eat? No, you don't. No. Because you think they're weird.
No,
or whatever reason. So nobody around here talks to our neighbors anymore. Nobody there's no more of that stuff. We just are always worried about what's happening in other people's countries.
Yep. And then you go to the store and buy up all the toilet paper so them starving kids don't have any. That's the one that I'll go back to time and time again is during the pandemic. Running out of toilet paper. There was no toilet paper. We'd get
and that's bizarre behavior to me.
Yeah, I agree. I never once that entire time worried about running out of toilet paper. It was not a concern of mine. I was like, oh my God, they shut the world down. Like they told us not to go outside.
Yeah.
But suddenly toilet paper becomes the most important fucking thing that the store will sell. When we're about the only country in the world that uses toilet paper.
I know.
Most societies don't even use it.
I know. And like we just didn't have it and used other things.
Yeah. Yeah, like most everywhere else in the world. Do you think Undugu from the fucking Sahara Desert is using toilet paper when he walks out of his hut? No, he's going and shitting on the ground and doing whatever they do. I don't know what they do. Get in the water and wash off.
I mean, you could even take like a bath towel and cut it up and you'd have 500 pieces of toilet paper or 100, whatever. And then you could just wash them and use them. That's what we did because I was not even going to spend that much money on toilet paper or go to 5 places to try to buy a thing of 4 we just didn't use it.
There's a scene in a movie called, this is a good segue, by the way.
Okay.
There's a scene in a movie called Dances with Wolves. Have you ever seen that movie?
I've heard of it.
Oh, you know what? This is going to lead perfectly into a different segment that I have for you. There's a scene in the movie where it's during the Civil War. Okay, so not really super old, but not modern. It's late 1800s. And one of these soldiers steals this dude's diary. And he's out in the tall cotton taking a shit because that's where you went. That's where the saying comes from. Shitting in tall cotton is you can squat down and take a shit and nobody can see you because you're shitting in the tall cotton.
Yeah.
And you're better off shitting in tall cotton. But anyway, I digress once again. He's looking through this diary or whatever of all, this guy's personal shit, his diary, and he's making fun of it and laughing and taking a poop. Well, anyway, he gets done taking a poop and he tears a page out of this diary and uses that to wipe his butt. My point being that it's a great scene in the movie, but people didn't use toilet paper until the modern age.
Yeah.
There was other, the diapers that I wore as a baby, were taken off and laundered.
Yeah,
and then
mine too.
Put back
Mine
on.
too.
Yeah. I wore rubber pants.
Me too.
This
I had
pamper bullshit. Didn't
we had diaper cloths, and then we had to wear that plastic thing over
the
at
rubber
church
pants.
and
Yeah,
stuff.
to keep it from soaking through to your clothes. Yeah. It was all steamy and shit.
And up until like the modern pad and tampon was invented, they actually put a rag in there. That's why they call it the rag. Like
I'm
they
on the
just
rag.
used a cotton whatever.
Soak it up with whatever you had.
Yeah. I mean, you don't though, and I was also talking to my kids about this the other day. Like when I was a kid, we didn't have anything that was plastic. We didn't our toys were not made of plastic. We did not have like our cups weren't. They were glass or ceramic or whatever. They we didn't all of our shelves in our house, like even our storage shelves, they were wood or metal. Like nothing, our pencil sharpeners, they were metal. I mean, there was nothing that was like plastic. And now I can't find a real thing. Everything's made of plastic. Everything is made of plastic.
Yes.
It's so frustrating when I spend money on something and it breaks because it's not worth anything. It's just not worth it.
Yep.
Like I am on the hunt right now for a cheese grater that was made before 2000. I just want any cheese grater that was made before 2000 because I want it to last me more than a month.
Well, if you can get one that's made to be a quality grater, besides instead of being a cheap one that they can profit off of, that's generally what you're going to find is that sort of thing. Unless you go to you buy a really expensive one that's made out of stainless steel and will last for a long time. Here, let's look at this.
Yeah, spending hundreds of dollars.
It won't cost hundreds of dollars. It would cost more than the cheap one.
Need a zoom in or something because I cannot read that.
Primarily toilet paper used in North America.
Oh yeah.
North America, while bidets are prevalent in Europe and Japan, and water from hoses, pitchers, or by hand is the preferred method in much of the Middle East, South Asia, and Southeast Asia. That's what I was going to say. India, just use their hand and wash it off in a bucket.
Well, a lot of countries have bidets.
Objects like the lota, or even leaves and corn cobs in parts of Africa. It was an old saying back in the old days.
And even in modern countries, other countries besides the United States, they use bidets.
Yeah.
They don't, in
Japan. So what I'm saying is that emergency that we had was a non-emergency, but that's what people in this country do is they make their problems the biggest problems in the world, and then they make it your fault. And they make you have to put up with the bullshit.
That's why they call it a first world problem.
A tableau? What the fuck is that? A jug or pitcher, a non-pressurized vessel filled with water to splash and clean. Like a coffee cup. Use a coffee cup. All right. I can't believe that you can find that on fucking Google. There's an article from the BBC. The peculiar bathroom habits of Westerners. I just wanted to throw that in there. So we were talking about movies, right? I brought up the Dances with Wolves.
Yeah.
So we were talking about movies.
And
I'd mentioned Dances with Wolves. Of course, you've never seen it, but I'm not surprised. But one of my biggest genres of music is horror movies, and me and you talked about it, and I was like, well, we need a segment on the podcast where we're talking about horror movies, and you were like, man, I don't like them. They scare me and this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I was trying to come up with some horror movies that you would enjoy that would not give you anxiety and make you sleep with the lights on and stuff. Okay.
Yeah, nightmares.
We need to kind of start softly and with some classics. Okay. Number one classic in the world, in my opinion, as far as horror movies and stuff, the original King Kong. Okay. You know
Okay.
story of King Kong?
Yes.
Have you seen King Kong?
No.
You've seen the modern versions of it, surely. You've never seen Skull Island or any of them new ones that they came out with?
No.
Okay. Well, then excellent. We're in an excellent position. Okay.
Okay.
Some would consider it an adventure movie,
Okay.
but it is truly a horror movie. It's a creature feature, as we call it, because it's got a big
Okay.
monster in it.
Right.
And it's from 1930, 1933. Oops.
I'm gonna look it up and see how to stream it.
1933. It
Is it
is.
called King Kong?
It is. And it's a classic. It's one of my favorite movies. My dad, when I was 2 or 3, my dad was cutting down a tree in the back behind our house in the creek. And the top of the tree fell out of the tree and was going to crush him. So he jumped off the ledge into the creek and broke his leg to get out from under the tree.
Okay.
And so he was out of work for just weeks and weeks and weeks. And I was a little kid and stayed at home, and my mom had to go to work and stuff. So anyway, he showed me King Kong. It's one of the things that I always attribute to my dad. He showed me how to tie my shoes, got me how to fish and that kind of stuff, but he also introduced me to King Kong. And from that first moment, the first time I ever watched it, it became one of the coolest shit I ever saw in my life. And I've seen it probably 50 times over the years. It's an excellent story. It's also a love story. It has.
You said 1933?
Mm-hmm.
It's listed as a horror adventure.
Yeah, there you go. It's a perfect example. It is a horror movie because it's a creature feature. All right, so put that on your list, will you? And I guarantee it won't give you anxiety. It won't give you nightmares. You'll be, I don't know that you'll be scared. You know, you're not going to, like, you're a grown woman. It isn't like it's devils and stuff going to get you.
Right.
You know, you don't got to,
Yeah,
it's
no,
nothing you
it's
have to
just
worry about. And it won't cause anxiety is what I'm saying.
okay.
It ain't like any of these modern movies. Okay. Number 2.
Okay.
There's 2. This is just number 1. You ain't got to watch them all. You do need to watch them all at some point, but we ain't got to do it all right at once. Number 2, the original Dracula. Carl Laemmler, 1931. Bela Lugosi's finest hour as Count Dracula. It's known for lots of things. One of the things being that it doesn't have a soundtrack. It was made pretty quick after, movies prior to that were silent. There wasn't even dialogue. You read a card, you know what I mean? And then they played music in the background. You had to kind of imagine what was going on. Well, this had sound, had, dialogue and voices and a vocal track, but there was no music. Most filmmakers will play some creepy music to make you feel, spine tingling and that kind of. Well, there was none of that, which actually made it even creepier than if there had been music. And it's about a vampire.
Yeah.
But
I know the movie.
Okay. You've never seen it, I don't think, have you?
No.
All right. It's excellent. It's excellent. You need to watch it ever.
Yeah.
Just fans of film in general need to watch it. Not just horror movie fans of general. And they actually filmed a Spanish version. Is it Spanish or Mexican? I can't remember. I think it's Spanish from Spain. They filmed a Spanish version at the exact same time as they filmed the American version and used the same sets, just used different actors. Same director and everything. Yep.
That's kind of crazy.
And a lot of people say that I've never seen the Spanish version, but they say it's a lot better than the other one. I'm like, I don't know how it could be any better. It's about perfect with, Bela Lugosi. Number 3, and this will be the final. Frankenstein.
Okay.
It's called Frankenstein. It's from 30, I think it's 32 or 33 also. But, and it's a horror movie. Classic horror movie, but once again, it's made in such a way. These are called the not King Kong, but the other 2 are universal classics. They're universal monster movies, and you've seen the Wolfman and the Mummy and Invisible Man and all those are Phantom of the Opera. You don't know of any of those people. Well, them will be all on the other list, but some of them are scarier. Phantom of the Opera is creepier.
I've seen Phantom of the Opera, the play.
Yeah, well, it's the same story, but that's a musical, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an opera.
Andrew Lloyd Webber.
I saw that on Broadway. It was very
actually
good.
on Broadway.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And it was the only opera I've ever seen on Broadway, and it was amazing. Amazing.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I mean,
I didn't really understand, but I just thought it was the most amazing thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, Renee's a pretty big fan. She's got a lot of the soundtracks and stuff. Different versions of it. A couple of big rock stars have played. Paul Stanley of Kiss, he did the production in Toronto where he played the Phantom. And Sebastian Bach, do you know him from Skid Row? You ever hear a band? 18 and Life, that band? He also did the Phantom of the Opera. I don't think it was on Broadway, though. Not sure he's good enough for Broadway. So there you go. There's some homework for you.
Okay.
And then we can discuss.
I will watch one.
Do King Kong, man. That's a good one. That's my favorite monster movie.
Okay. That'll probably be my first one that I watch.
There's some in the 60s, some Godzilla movies in the 60s that are technically horror. I guess you could call them sci-fi, but they're more laughable than you're not going to get scared watching them on sound, I guarantee. Maybe if you were 8, you'd get kind of scared. I would like to quickly plug our social media pages. We do have an Instagram account now, and it is NOTA.3753. That's NOTA as in not none of the above, .3753. That's our Instagram. There's nothing really on there at the moment, but we've just started it, and there will be. So follow us there, and you'll find announcements and that kind of stuff. We also have an X account, or Twitter. Thanks, Elon. And it is NOTA 3753 on X.
Come check us out soon. We'll have some stuff up.
I will put a link on these things to our YouTube account and eventually Twitch also, so that you can find us on these places, because I think we want to upload some of this stuff and have some fun with it. What do you think?
Yeah. Friendly conversation.
Yeah.
Let's start talking, Yeah.
And then find out what none of the above. It's what I'm looking for. If you're looking for none of the above, you don't want the same old crap. Yeah. Come here and look at us doing this kind of stuff. So, okay. Yeah. Well, I'd say we call it a day.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yep.
You don't have anything to announce before next week or anything?
No.
No, we got nothing.
No.
But we're working on it. So, all right then. Till next time.
Peace and love.
Peace out. Bye.
Bye.